Hello everyone, and welcome to F1 Esports. So, as I'm sure you're all aware then, F1 Esports is now a thing. I was actually lucky enough to be at both the semi-finals and the finals last year. But this season I thought, you know what, that's not good enough. I don't want to be a spectator, I want to be a participant. So I thought I'd pick up the wheel, as you saw with that little intro there, pick up the wheel, so to speak, and start again. And I thought, you know what, along with that, let's do YouTube again. So, I don't actually know where this is going to lead, in all honesty. All I really know is that I'm going to do some esports qualifiers. I'm going to see if I can get back into this game, get back into the game series, get to somewhere near competitive, and yeah, upload all my attempts and see where we go from there, really. So again, no idea where it's going to lead, but yeah, let's go from there. So as you can see there, Azerbaijan is this event, and for those that aren't aware, so F1 Esports this season is all about doing these events. So it's essentially the last 5 laps of race. You see the little description on the left-hand side there. I won't read that. I'll let you guys read that yourself if you want to. But basically, you've got to get into the top 10 on each platform. So I play on PC, so you've got to get into the top 10. You can see the top 10 just in front of you there. And when you do that, you go through to a qualifying race, which you've got to get through to top 3. And then you go through to a draft pick. And then I won't go too much further than that. You can read more on the F1 Esports website. But it's all very exciting then. So I certainly thought I'd give it a go. As you saw in the intro there, just sort of been playing a few other games and not doing too much, not really done a lot of racing, certainly not played this game in quite some time, certainly a few months really, last time I played this game. So yeah, like I said, just thought I'd give it a crack, and very much out of practice really. You know, I'll talk to it when we get into the action, but very much out of practice, so not expecting even to qualify full stop on any of the events, and I certainly didn't qualify on this event. That's actually my final time you see there, but I will show you my attempt, so I am a couple of seconds off, but it's not too bad. I certainly found about 4 or 5 seconds from my first attempt to my last attempt, so this is my final attempt on this particular event. Only had a few hours to do it, so let's jump into it. So here we go then, as Lance Stroll in the Williams. And this first lap is absolutely critical then, so I won't get into too much of the driving. I'll just pretty much commentate over this first lap. So it's absolutely critical to nail those first 2 corners, because we have to overtake signs before the braking zone of the next corner. You can see I've done it pretty well there. Just get as clean exit as I possibly can to get a good run on him down here. Get lots of slipstream. DRS wide open up to 8th gear, then going to his outside for the optimum racing line. And braking just for the 100 metres on the right hand side there, you can see there. Nicely nailed him, and didn't even need to outbrake him there. So now, again, it's absolutely critical to catch Magnussen, and our aim here is to get DRS on Ocon up ahead in P4. So we have to pass both Sainz, which we've already done, and Magnussen in this first lap, and then get DRS on Ocon down the very, very long start-finish straight. So again, just pushing as hard as we possibly can, now using Rich wherever we can, just to catch Magnussen as much as we possibly can. You see they're just 7 tenths back, and now we're really, really close to him coming in to this very tight section. You see going to slow-mo there, getting also down. This just shows just how close you get to the barriers, and indeed Magnussen there. A little bit of sliding too over the curb, and really, really close stuff. Very tight section there. And this is where we have to overtake that to get a nice clean exit. Go up to Rich, going to go his inside then, and as long as we're inside him, it will give us the room. So that is moved done. Again, critical that we overtook him there, because we can't be outbraking him into here. The AI do actually brake pretty late into this corner, so couldn't be alongside him. There had to be past him by the time we got to that corner, so it's absolutely critical, because once again, I've said the word critical too much, but once again, we have to get close to Ocon there, a little bit wide, lock the interval ever so slightly, but a reasonable exit there, just under a second at the last count there on Ocon, so we should, in theory, with a bit of rich mixture and a little bit of distant slipstream back, we should just about get some DRS, and there we go, confirmation in the bottom right corner. We do indeed get some DRS, and it was, I'm going to say the word again, it was critical to get DRS on here, because again we have to nail him into the next DRS straight. So we see we're 6 tenths back on him at the minute, trying to brake very late up to 3rd now as there's people in the pits, and again critical, all these corners. I need to stop saying critical, but all of these corners just need to get a good exit here, and we'll get some DRS on him and some slipstream. But this car, of course, is a Mercedes power car, as are we, so he's going to be much quicker than Sainz was in a straight line. So, was it Sainz? I can't remember who it was now on the first lap. But anyway, going to dive us inside here. Need to outbrake him, which we've done very nicely, very well controlled. Nailing our apex and the exit. And there we go. And that's why the first lap is so critical. That is the last time I'm going to say that word, I promise. I'm going to try very hard now. But yes, it is very important, that first lap, just purely because you have to nail them there just to get the best time possible. And these events really, they're a time trial event. They're over, I believe it's 6 laps at the end of a 100% race. But it's a time trial event. It's all about the way you get high up in these events is points, and the way you score points is by first of all having all assists off and AI turn up to 110, all those lovely things, but also it's about the fastest lap that you do, and then it's about the overall race time that you do. So again, it's very much a TT time trial event. So just going to have to push very, very hard now to try and catch Ricciardo. Our aim is to catch Ricciardo coming on to the last lap. We're going to get DRS there. I'm sure the top guys catch him probably even a lap sooner than that. but unfortunately my pace just isn't there, which I will go into a little bit now. So come around the final turn here, nice long straight. And yeah, so obviously I was used to F1 2013, long-time subs will know all about that. League racing was pretty successful, won 3 out of 4 titles, well 3 full seasons that I contested in, I won the title in. There was another half season which I was chasing down the title, but I couldn't quite manage it. So obviously had pretty good success on F1 2013 and F1 2012. But this game is very different, so that was on a previous game engine of the game series, and of course it was pre-turbo hybrid era. So that game really was all about rotation in the corner. It was about braking late, getting the car rotated around the apex, and then just absolutely nailing the throttle and getting a half-decent exit. Traction wasn't that critical. There was a lot of traction in those games. And again, braking, that was one of my stronger points, but I found it fairly easy. I was always running quite high brakes, and everyone was always telling me, commenting, saying I try and brake at the same point as you, and I just go straight on. I don't know how you get it stopped that quickly. So braking really was a key point for me in terms of my speed. And like I said, getting it rotated, that's why you always used to ram it down the gears back in those days. Just really get right down to first gear in some corners and just get it rotated as best you could, because you just didn't slide. This game, that key word there, slide, very, very different. So this game is all about sliding through the corners, really. It's about managing slide, and that's why people tend to run setups that are 1 front wing and sort of 4 or 5 or 6 even on the rear wing. So really balanced towards the rear downforce, because again, it's all about controlling that slide. And that's the key thing really that I'm not used to. I'd say I'm pretty used to the braking by now. I probably spent about 3 or 4 hours or so doing these attempts, and I'd say I got a lot better at the braking. I'm pretty much there braking now, I'd say. Traction, I need to improve, but again, it's really all about rotating it through the corner. So I'm so used to going down the gears. So in the first turn of this circuit, which I'm coming up to now, probably in previous games I'd go down to 2nd gear just to get it rotated nice. But if you do that, you are just going to slide, and when you're sliding in this game, it's not like in the previous game where you could just power through it. In this game, if you start sliding, try and get the power, you're going to get oversteer on the exit, which is going to cause a bad exit. So that's what's taking a lot of learning for me. You can see me going down to 3rd gear there, and I'd imagine the top guys probably potentially stay in 4th, or perhaps go down to 3rd briefly and then go up to 4th for the exit. For me, I'm just staying in 3rd again, just still adapting to this, and I just wanted to get a good run here, so I didn't want to adapt too much again, didn't have too much time. And again, coming to the next turn, I'd imagine most people are probably in 3rd, which I do as well. I'd imagine 4th would surely be too high. And again, it's just learning curve for me. That's what my next few videos are all going to be. So my current plan, 4 videos, I'll tell you right now, are to do the esports attempts, perhaps some time trial in preparation for those events. I don't think I'm going to get time for the next one. The next one is the Spanish Grand Prix, which is over the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. Obviously that's pretty much upon us now, so I don't think I'm going to get time to do a time trial run, but I am going to record my first attempt and upload that, and then I'm going to record my last attempt and upload that. I was hoping to get Brendan Lee involved, who's the current F1 Esports World Champion, but I don't think I'm quite going to be able to get him involved. He's having a few issues with his PC and recording, so unfortunately I don't think I'm going to be able to get him too involved, but we will see about that. And that's about all my plans for now, just to do that, and then there's a final event as well around Monaco, so that's about all my plans. I want to cover the events a little bit as well, just to cover them from a more journalistic point of view. So I wanted to do highlights from the qualifying races, even if I'm not in them, and then of course do highlights from there on out, and perhaps even do some interviews from drivers and things like that. And really just, no one's doing that, no one's covering it from a journalistic point of view, but I want to do it justice. I wouldn't want to do it half-assed, so I will need to get permission and stuff to use that content, so I will keep you updated on that. But like I said, for now, the short-term goal is just to get these esports events uploaded and of course do some practice and hopefully be a bit more competitive. I will talk through the final lap now then, as this is the final lap before we catch Ricardo. So you see they're braking just for the 100 metres on the right hand side, getting down to 3rd gear, over the curb a little bit on the exit, a little bit wide. You see me adjusting the steering quite a bit, getting down to 3rd gear. You want to clip your apex, don't touch the curb though, get it all straight into it, get on the hard on the power on the exit. Up through the gears once again. Again, you see us using rich mixture on pretty much every straight, because again, all we're trying to do is catch Ricardo here. Up to 12th gear, braking just before the 100 metres on the right side, down to 3rd gear, try and clip the apex one a little bit wide there, which pushed me into the wall there slightly, and bring just before the 50 metre wall on the left hand side there, down to 3rd gear again, clip your apex, don't touch the curb there, which I again ran ever so slightly wide on. Try and avoid going off track. This game does still give you less grip off the track, and actually took too much curb there, which pushed me very deep into the next corner, so that's not ideal there. Keeping it 3rd all the way through there. Up through the gears once again, so braking just halfway between the 100 metre and 50 metre board. Down to 2nd for the apex. Normally I'd shift up to 3rd for the exit, but chose against it there because I was able to straighten the wheel nicely. You see us going down Once again to slow motion, just to show just how close I get to all of those barriers. You can see me getting a nice straight line there, so I'm as close to the barrier as possible to swing into these corners, nailing the curbs through there, and a bit of oversteer there. That's what you don't want to be doing, so that's what you want to avoid in this game. Once you are correctly oversteer there, although it looks good and feels fast, it actually isn't. It's actually very slow. You want to avoid oversteer at pretty much all costs on this particular game. So down to third gear, just skimming the curb. I know some people went over that curb, so perhaps that's something I need to review. Again, I didn't have enough time really to review too much, braking just so you get to 100 metres on the right side, down to third gear, and just getting on the power hard there. So now we're 1.1 seconds back from Ricciardo. Again, it is absolutely important to get DRS on him down this start-finish straight. But it is in Red Bull, so he's pretty slow in a straight line. So we are going to catch up a little bit of slipstream and rich mixture, and with our DRS power, with our Mercedes power, I meant to say, against his engine, his Renault power, we do manage to get DRS, and we get a nice lot of slipstream, so we need to pass. We need to connect DRS zone if we're going to have a chance of beating our previous time then. Right down to third gear once again, and unfortunately though we ran a little bit deep there. I think the dirty air was just affecting me slightly, didn't factor it in. And 100 metre board there, once again braking, nailed that corner quite nicely, but oh no, went a little bit deep, and that is unfortunately ruined our chance of being able to get past down this straight. I did think about having a dive bomb at this point, but just too far back. I'm probably 50 metres back, so there was just no chance. Unfortunately, you see they're just running deep. And at this point, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I lost concentration. In order to beat my previous time, I had to overtake Ricciardo then, because my previous attempt, my best time, I did overtake Ricciardo down the start-finish straight, so I'd had to overtake him before that, and you see now I've actually fallen back from now because I've just lost concentration. Just these events, again, I've never enjoyed time trial, and these events are essentially time trial. You just do the event again and again and again and again. And in particular, the first couple of corners, and then once you get past the first couple of corners, you do the first couple of laps, or first lap rather. Again, I said how important the first lap is. That was what I did. I just repeated the first lap time and time again. Mostly the first two corners time again, and it's not what I enjoy. I've got to be honest with you guys. It isn't what I enjoy, but it's needs must for this F1 Esports event. It's never what I've been good at. You know, I think my average qualifying position in league racing was sort of second. And my average finishing position was sort of 1.4 or something like that, so sort of nearing first. That just shows you I'm a racer, not a qualifier. So yeah, as you can see, I've just lost time to Ricciardo, and I'm actually further back, I believe, than I was on the previous lap, and that just shows you how much time I lost. And there was dirty air, but I should have been able to stick right with him. And again, just lost the motivation there. I was just feeling a bit frustrated. This was only a couple of hours before the deadline, and I was just, been doing it for hours. I was sweating as well. And there it is then. So actually that time was actually slightly slower than my previous time that you saw. So I didn't manage to get time. You saw my fast lap there, 142.2. And I will in just a second go through and show you all of my lap times. And that just shows you where I'm losing most of my overall race time. There we go, 42.2 was my best time. 42.4 was my best non-slipstream and DRS time. And there we go, just inconsistent. 42.8, 42.7, 43.6 on the final lap. 42.7 as well. So I need to be consistent in the 42.2s. To be at my best. That's my personal best at the minute, 42.2s without any slipstream or DRS in order to be a bit quicker. But again, there is more time to be had. I've got it on good authority that the best lap time is something like a 41.7, 41.8. So I've actually also got about another 4 tenths or so to find out. But again, limited time. This is a learning curve for me. I need to get back into these games. I need to get back into this game series. There's a lot to learn. You know, I'd spent several hundred hours on the previous game series when I was winning my title, so I didn't even practice much for the league race at that time. A couple of hours, just 'cause I didn't need to. You know, those games I'd almost perfected them. I just did not need to practice anymore. This game is another level. It's a different game. It's a different game engine, and I just need to practice more. I need to get into it. I need to learn the nuances of this game, get my pace back up, and fingers crossed I can do it. I've got no idea if I can, but I'm going to try. I do now work full time. I do go to London 2 days a week. I've got to be honest, I do party a lot on the weekends now. So I haven't got a great deal of time. But we'll see what we can do. Like I said, I'm going to upload my first attempt of the next F1 Esports event. Then I'll upload my last attempt, see how much time I can gain. Then hopefully after that is Monaco, and I'll do some more time trial practice between that as well. But there we go, that's that lot. You can see that I finished this event 29th, about 2 seconds off qualifying, sorry, about 3 seconds off qualifying or so. It's a fair amount of time to gain, really, only over sort of 6 laps or so. So half a second a lap on average to gain. It's an awful lot of time. But we'll see what we can do with a bit more practice in the next event, and I thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.